This is how we can actually really work on our decision-making process. And the reason I'm talking about decision-making, because you might be thinking, oh, I thought this was about ethics. No, decision-making is actually what underpins our choices, and they either demonstrate our values, they demonstrate our ethics, and our integrity means we have to live with the consequences. So let's look at how we can improve our decision-making. Well, this is the process that I would ask you to undergo. If you are going to make a decision, frame it. Now, what that means is you cannot make a decision to buy a house, for example, without considering if you have a family. Are my family going to like it? Could my family go to school here? Would my partner be able to work from this location? You can't just go, I like this, I'm going to have it. You have to frame it in the context of where that decision is going to sit. So frame it. Frame that decision. You might also need to consider it in terms of how much money you can spend. Then gather information. So using that house buying example, speak to your family. Speak to the bank. Go to the area. Look around. Do the commute. Look at the schools. Gather the information that you need. And the bigger the decision, the more you really need to work on the process. Okay, I'm going to give you a brilliant model for a quick decision in a second. But the more you need to really process, or the more you're going to invest, the more you need to really think about this. So you gather your information. With that information, come to a conclusion. I'm going to buy it, or I'm not going to buy it. Or I'm going to negotiate it. Or I'm going to look for houses in this area. So you come to your conclusion and then go for it. Make your decision. Do it, in other words. So you framed it in the context of where that decision is going to sit. You've gathered all the information that you need, or as much information as you can get. You come to your conclusion. I'm going to go for it, or I'm not going to go for it. Do it. Make that choice. Then reflect on what happens. Learn from the feedback. So you've done it, you bought that house, and you love it. Well, then you might think next time you would need to make a big family decision, you just go through the same process. You've actually now got a workable model that suits you. Or alternatively, if it didn't work out for you, so you did all the things, and actually you did as much as you can with information gathering and things like that, reflect on what you actually did. Because if the feedback turns out to be you move and it's great, but then your children don't enjoy the school they're at, is there a lot that you could have predicted over that? Probably not. What you could have done maybe is had a discussion with them about moving schools and that kind of thing. But maybe if you did that anyway, then there's nothing else you could have done. And that is unfortunately an example of where you did the whole process beautifully, just didn't work out. But if you can then say something didn't work out, if you can then actually pick out a hole in your process. So it might be you didn't frame it in terms of childcare. So you spoke to your family, you had them all going to school, going to work and so on, but you didn't actually frame it in terms of could mum come and look after them? Can dad come and look after them? Can they go to the grandparents easily? Then that might be something that was missing in the gathering information bit. I mean, don't beat yourself up over it, but it's just something to pin and remind yourself mentally, oh, actually, next time I need to make sure I've covered all the bases about living in that particular context. So the way we learn from our decisions is really by thinking about what process we used and how successful or effective that process was.